Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy and United People's TV here to kick off April. And I tell you what, this might just sound like old man moaning, but April Fools, it used to be funny. You used to do pranks on each other, like physical pranks. But given that 90% of the internet is lying anyway, a day where everyone can just lie, it's just boring. April Fools has lost its shine. And maybe it's just because I'm getting older. But anyway, it has been 16 days since we watched United's first team in action. Tonight, we play Forest away. I'm going to run through the team news from Ruben Amorim in the press conference yesterday. Speak about Shaw, Mount, Maguire, Euro, lots of them. Also speak about the under-18s last night. It was a disappointing defeat in the FA Youth Cup semi-final against Villa. We'll also speak about strikers and transfers. Laurie Whitwell in the Athletic, an article that's just dropped about, 20 minutes ago. Okay, I'll run through all of that. You can let me know what you think in the chat, as you always do. Let's have a conversation. Grumpy old man syndrome. Is it grumpy old man syndrome? It's just not funny. I remember last time I saw something on April Fool's and it actually got me to go, oh, wow, that was just genuinely quite funny. It's just, the internet doesn't need an excuse to lie for a day, considering 90% of it is lies anyway. That's what I mean about it being boring. I'm not sure April Fool's suits the internet. It was a pre-internet bit of fun. That's the way I look at it. Grumpy old man syndrome. Carl, good morning to you. Stephanie and Josh, you're there as well. Who else is here? We've got Royston de Boyston, Royster59 as well. Liam Griffin, John, Toby, Big Mavinci. We've got Sean Smee. We've got Volpez, Pete, and we've got Damien and Gusty. Good morning to all of you. Gusty win. There you go. Right, let's run through the news. You can let me know what you think in the chat, as you always do. Please do get involved. And I want to start here. You speak about grumpy old man syndrome. Oh, nothing to see here, ladies and gents. Just Chelsea turning what was around about a £60 million loss on the books into a £128 million profit by selling the women's team to another company which is owned by Chelsea. Oh, fantastic. And there's going to be some United fans, right, who look at this and go, wow, Chelsea just, game's a game, man. Game's a game. Just got to play the rules. Chelsea are effectively the mafia in this regard. That they do not give a toss about any rule whatsoever. They'll just pay someone. See that rule there? I don't want to follow it. Find me a loophole. Find me a way around it. It is mafia-esque. Of course it's not. Well, in fact, it probably is legal. This is the thing. This is just Chelsea. That Chelsea have sold a hotel inside companies that are owned by Chelsea. And this is Chelsea just circumnavigating the rules. I'll tell you what. The Premier League has no idea really what it's doing, does it? Really doesn't. I would be amazed if they managed to make the City charges stick. Because I think what Chelsea have shown with, the hotel, selling that, and now they're selling the women's team to all of a sudden turn what is a ridiculous set of accounts into a profit. Yeah, it's pure. It's nothing more than money laundering. It's exactly what it is. And they all just get away with it because there's loopholes, there's ways through, and it's just, that is Chelsea. That is Chelsea to a goddamn T. The only reason they exist as a modern football club is because they have brought in an oligarch who had money from assets that he stripped from the end of the Soviet Union, and he didn't care what he spent them on because it wasn't really his money. Oh, what do you mean? The club owes me hundreds of... don't matter. Don't worry about it. That's all right. Don't really care. I'll be totally honest. They bought their way in, and now they're buying their way around rules. It's just... You can call it standard corporate finance, ugly and American. It's just Chelsea. You know how much of a disdain I've got for that football club. How much I hate that football club. And I hope at some point it blows up in their face. But I'll be honest, if it was going to blow up in their face, probably would have done it by now, wouldn't it? They're still going to do what they do. And unfortunately, because it just doesn't seem like the rules are tight enough. That's all Chelsea have got to do. It's all anyone's got to do. If you have enough money to pay the right lawyer to sit there and spend a month looking through all the rules and regulations, they will find you a back door. That's what these big businesses do, right? And anybody who's like, oh, Sam, well, why can't Ineos just, I don't know, sell the women's team to Ineos? Great. This is not a case of if you can't beat them, join them. United have never had to cheat their way to where we are. We haven't won the league in 30 years, and then Fergie came in and established a dynasty, and off the back of that, Manchester United were then able to grow, expand the stadium, grow with the players that we bought. We had the class of 92 coming through. It was everything that United did was organic, and it took time, and it just built up an absolute behemoth that no one could really compete with because it was so impressive. And then Chelsea come in. From a bang average mid-table club to a new Russian oligarch owner, and all of a sudden they're competing for the league and the Champions League. Yeah, all right, lads. Oh, City, no one cares. How about you go and lose 8-1 to Middlesbrough? Nah, sod that. Let's get owned by Abu Dhabi. Yeah, go on, the boys. Modern football. Round of applause. Makes me sound bitter, I know, but I really don't care. I fucking hate Chelsea so much. Anyway. Let's move on to Brighton news. Unfortunately. It's not Brighton news. Last night, the FA Youth Cup semi-final took place at Villa Park. United were playing Villa, and it wasn't the greatest game of football. United went 1-0 down early on. It was an unlucky goal to concede. It was just the ball flicked off the wall. James Scanlon was slowest to react. They scored after like 4 minutes. United got back into the game, though. James Scanlon equalised. Really good move. Nice move from Tyler Fletcher. It broke to Scanlon. He equalised. And in the second half of that game last night, if anybody watched it, United were really like turning the screw in terms of the pressure that we held on it. Like Villa's goalkeeper, I think a lot of people are annoyed about Villa's goalkeeper when it comes to time wasting and just call it the dark arts if you want. Do the dark arts exist at under 18s level? I don't know. Ultimately, it was the penalties where United fell short. We missed 3 penalties. It was a really bad set of penalties. I don't know if you saw, but Villa's goalkeeper in the build up to the penalties actually happening, he's there with the water bottle. He's having a little talk with his coach about probably where United's players are going to be taking their penalties, and it seems like United's coach was just basically giving I don't really know what he was doing. But Villa were clearly better prepared for the penalties. Maybe that's a bad lesson, a harsh lesson that they're going to learn. Joe saying we got dominated up. We dominated after the goal. I thought he said we got dominated. It's kind of the opposite of what I thought. In terms of the players that I was impressed with, I was pretty impressed with Munro at centre-back. I thought Kokonki had his moments, but I don't think it was a complete... I'm not talking about complete performances at this level. The player that I was personally most impressed with was Tyler Fletcher. I've really enjoyed watching him. Sort of the playmaker from deep. I think both the Fletcher lads, Jack and Tyler, should go on pre-season. I wonder how big the squad will be for pre-season. But I thought they impressed. Chido didn't really, if I'm being honest. I'm not sure that he actually had a clear-cut opportunity. Had the ball in the net once. I'll be honest, it was a bit of a weak decision by the ref. Ball comes over, and it looked like Villa's player clattered into Villa's goalkeeper. Maybe there had been a nudge from Bianchetti. I don't quite know. But Chido didn't particularly have many clear-cut opportunities. A goalkeeper's not allowed to take down notes now? I don't know. I don't really know. All in all, it wasn't as free-of-flowing, creative, attacking performance from the under-18s as we've grown to expect. I think the physicality was there. I think they put real pressure on Villa, but they weren't able to turn that pressure into clear-cut opportunities. And I have to admit, both goalkeepers, I think, were pretty damn good. Villa's goalkeeper made a couple of blinding saves. Murdoch as well, he saved the penalty. And made some decent saves. I think both goalkeepers were probably the standout players. But for me, I really enjoyed watching Tyler Fletcher. Unfortunately for the lads, that's now them out of the competition. So they can't win the cup that eluded them last season. So they're going to have to focus on the league and the Premier League Cup. So you're saying they missed not having Harry Mass down the left? Yeah, I do think that Mass would have been an asset in that team. I look at Kokonki and I think you're probably more looking at a left-sided centre-back than you are looking at a left-back. Now, maybe that can convert into a left wing-back potential in the future. Yeah, Fergie was there watching on. That must have been great for the lads. They all turned up in their suits. It might be minor, but I think it's a United thing, man. Big cup games, got to rock up in the suit with the blazer on. Rules are rules. Anyway, they'll be disappointed with that. But under 18s, they'll learn. And yeah, no Chido in the squad tonight, right? Oh yeah, didn't save the penalty. I don't know why I said that. He did absolutely spoon that wide. Either way, he was in goal when the penalty was taken and he didn't go in. That counts. Yeah, I did enjoy watching Mantato when he came on. I think he offered something very different. You can see why Ruben Amorim likes the running angles of a left-footed right wing back. Because he can cut on the outside, but when he goes on the inside, you can drive through with pace. The amount of times that Mantato just kind of like burst forward 5-10 yards to get towards the edge of the box. He was fouled a couple of times. We couldn't really stop him. Yeah, I definitely see Kokonki more as a left-sided centre-back than I do a left-back. Either way, they'll learn from that game. And we move on to the seniors tonight because it has been 16 days. 16 days since that Leicester game. And I think that's got to be the longest mid-season break apart from like the World Cup. That's probably the longest that United have gone mid-season without a game. Obviously, if we were in the FA Cup, we hadn't lost to Fulham, then we would have played... Who is it? Would we have drawn City? No, who did Fulham play? Fulham played Palace. Played Palace at home. Anyway. Forest tonight. What's your expectations? In fact, I'll start a poll. We'll see what your predictions are for the game tonight, and I'll run through Amorim's comments now, and we can have a chat. We'll talk about transfers and strikers a little bit later in the show. Prediction for tonight. It's been 84 years. I can hear that Titanic meme. Forest win. Draw. United win. I don't know whether there's any confirmation on Chris Wood's injury, because I think he was taken off during the internationals with a slight injury. Don't know. But anyway, in terms of team news, right? Confirmed here by Ruben Amorim yesterday. Luke Shaw's not ready yet, and water is not wet. We are starting some drills with the team. Kobbie Mainoo is almost ready. Johnny Evans is recovering. I mean, I don't know what's happened with Johnny Evans. I have no idea what's happened with Johnny Evans. He may as well retire at this point. I don't mean that in an offensive way, but it's the right time for Johnny Evans to retire. I really want Johnny Evans to go in. What level would Johnny... Random question here. If Johnny Evans was to move into United's ranks as a coach, what level do you think he goes in at? I don't know where they start. Because Solskjaer managed the reserves, didn't he? Back when they were called the reserves. I don't know whether he'd done any badges or not. I imagine Evans has already been doing his badges. No idea. What would he go in as? A defensive coach with the youth teams? Potentially? I don't quite know. Either way, Johnny Evans is recovering. Maguire is ready, and so is Yoro. Both of those are good news. Both of those? Yes, they are. I don't know whether both will start tonight. I think Yoro probably more likely to start because I would just nudge De Ligt ahead of Maguire. And that really good news there about Aiden Heaven, right? The injury is not so serious. He is not ready to play yet, but he will return this season for sure. Let me see what you're saying about Johnny Evans down there. Under 16s, right? I don't actually know what badges Johnny Evans has. Anybody want to do some Googling? Googlage. I don't know what badges Johnny Evans has. I don't think he has like the elite badges. Yeah, and I completely agree with you, Stephanie. I think Johnny Evans would be a fantastic player to have teaching our young defenders A, how to defend, but sort of B, how to, be a professional at the top level for what, 10, 15, 20 years? I remember when, and that was when United had such ridiculous options in defence. That's when we had Vidic and Ferdinand, who was so good that we had to let Gerard Piqué leave. And then you had Johnny Evans that you kind of looked at. You did kind of turn your nose up at a little bit by comparison of Vidic and Ferdinand, but he was a class understudy, man. Phil Jones, I can't remember what he was doing with our youth teams, but anyway, let's see what he does. Either way, there's some good news injury-wise. And in terms of Bruno, right? I mean, when we spoke about it yesterday, I was like, anybody, any channel giving any airtime to the Daily Star saying that Bruno Fernandes is going to Real Madrid for £90 million is like, just stop it. Just stop it. Stop using excuses that like, United fans need to know about this and haven't. You're just wasting the time and the energy of United fans. Stop it. Yeah, it feels like another lecture's incoming. I'm going to keep doing this until at some point, which probably won't ever happen, at some point it stops. Anyway, Amorim was asked about that story in the press conference, and even before the journalists had finished, he was just sitting there shaking his head. Nope. No, I didn't. Not going anywhere. Spoke about it in a little bit more detail. Said Bruno's not going to leave. He's 30, but he's still so young because he plays 50, 55 games every season. Between assists and goals, he's there for at least 30. He's the type of player we want here. And he's going nowhere. And nor should he. And I'll tell you what, it's coming tomorrow. The latest United People's Productions video. It's more like an exploration of a question, this one, which I think you'll like. What makes a great United captain? And we take a little look at Brian Robson, Roy Keane, Gary Neville, Nemanja Vidic, and we ask and we kind of look through the history of United's captains in the Premier League and what sort of captains they were and what makes a great captain and what characteristics do they all share, even if they are different types of captains, which they all are, because of all the criticism that's gone Bruno's way, right? That's what I'm going to do. And I'll tell you what, there's something I've definitely got to comment on because it keeps popping up on my timeline. Slick Rick, or whatever you want to call him, for United stand, sitting there on stage, just absolutely caning the captain of the football club in some sort of parody stand-up performance that's supposed to be a load of United fans all coming together to have a conversation about United. And it just may as well be a Liverpool fan conference where they all just sit there and pick at the body of United and point and laugh. You cannot call yourself a United community if that is at the core of it, to rip it apart, to point and laugh, and to make crap up for the sheer toxicity of it. And what's even more horrible is there are hundreds of fans sitting there laughing in the audience. United community. That's what you are. Fantastic news. It just pisses me off. Because, as I say, it's the total opposite of everything I work for and everything I work towards here with this genuine United community that isn't designed to rip the club from the inside out. I mean, you could just go and ask him to tout more, what was it, £600,000 worth? He was in court, nearly faced jail time. A lovely stand-up man. I'm sure that's somebody you want around you. Not. Anyway, pisses me off, and I don't care if anyone comes at me for that, because it's bullshit. And that stuff absolutely needs to be called out. Because it's just, yeah. Anyway, if you want to go watch a stand-up of a United community ripping apart the captain of the football club, yeah, you know where to go. Well, it's all news. It's all fun. It's all fun. No, piss off. Don't pretend to be something you are not. That's where we are. Right, let's move on to some good news here. Ahmad. Obviously, we all feared that Ahmad was going to be out for... To be fair, we feared that Heaven was going to be out for the season as well. Yeah, You know, Saka's coming back for the game against Fulham. I thought he was going to be out for the season. Was he out for the season as well? I think he was. Either way, he's going to be back for Fulham. And Amorim there was some... He's definitely confident. He says it there. We are confident that Ahmad is going to be back before the season is over. And just please get to the final. Please get to the final so we can have Ahmad back. Maybe the semis. The semis are start of May. I think they're like the 1st and the 8th of May. Something like that. Oh, man. Do you remember how much of a sucker punch it was when Ahmad got injured? That was probably the time where it was like there wasn't really too many positives you could pull out of how United were playing at that point. Ahmad was that shining light. And then he goes out and you're thinking... You're laughing because it's not funny. Stephanie, I completely agree with you there. Ahmad shouldn't be rushed back. Ahmad won't be rushed back. And I'm telling you, that I think the club, for all the problems that we've had with injuries, I do think that the club has been managing the injuries better. I think players are not coming back into the team too soon. They're not being rushed back because we're desperate and all of a sudden they get a bigger tweak and they're out for a long time. But I'd love to see Ahmad. Of course, I'm thinking too far ahead when I'm talking about Ahmad being back for a final. How about, Sam, let's talk about the quarterfinal first. And then, maybe if we get past Lyon, which is not going to be easy, and that's next week. That game against Lyon. Do you think it's type yes or no in the comments. Because on paper, this is such an obvious answer, but I don't really know with Manchester United right now. Do you think it's an advantage, United having the second leg at home? Type yes or no. Because it is, right? That is an advantage. Again, this might sound like it probably does sound like old man moaning. I say quite a lot these days. I genuinely prefer and I always loved the away goal rule in European football. I loved how it made you play differently in just those specific European games compared to any other game that you were doing. Because you had to approach it different. And I'm pulling that up here. Huzaifa saying, love this channel, but no need to put others down, mate. No. Bullshit. If I see somebody literally performatively slagging my captain in some sort of stand-up comedy performance, that person will be put down. Simple as that. Free speech in this world. Absolutely. But expect consequences if you say stuff. And that's a lesson that a lot of people still need to learn. So yeah, you're not going to get an apology out of me for that. Overwhelming majority of you still think that it is an advantage for us to have the second game at home. And Akash, you're coming down here. Have you seen the record at Old Trafford this season? Yeah, I have seen the record at Old Trafford. And it's not been particularly good. But saying that 4-1 win against Sociedad was great. The away goal was awful. It cost us so many times in Europe. What was the worst one? Probably kind of a sliding doors moment was United against Porto. When Scholes had the offside rule. That's when Mourinho went through and then won the treble that season. Look, I'm sorry, Kagotso. Sometimes there's going to be a swear word that pokes out. All right? The majority, there isn't. Sometimes there will be. When things get annoying me, they will come out. I apologise to anyone watching with kids. But one or two will come. Did I say watershed? No, watershed. But these things annoy me. People speak about Leverkusen. I think Porto was probably one of the worst ones. Either way, I used to like it. I used to like the away goal rule. I just thought it brought a different approach to European football, and it made it feel like a different thing. Anyway, speak about the game tonight. It's interesting comments here from Amorim, sort of speaking about how United are feeling right now. And he said, I think I can say that I'm really confident. The players are more confident. The energy is different. I know that could change with the results, but clearly, from an international break perspective, Amorim is happy with what happened. We went into that international break, and I'm telling you, it's the first time this season, and you already know this, it's the first time this season that United have gone into an international break and it's not felt like doom and gloom. At one point, I think it was like, is Erik ten Hag going to be sacked or not? And then he stayed. And then the second one was, I think Erik ten Hag was sacked. Was it the third one? I can't even remember. But the international breaks largely this season have been awful. So at the very least, this one, we went in off the back of 2 wins. Now, you know what's mad, right? Tonight, if United beat Forest, it's the first time this season that we've won back-to-back games in the Premier League. I read that stat somewhere in the preview this morning. I think that's correct. And that is disgusting. Oh, that Bayern one. Was the Bayern away goal one where Robin scored the volley? Oh, that was a bad one. That was a bad one. I think it was. Was that when Nani scored 2? I think so. Tyler is saying, my worry is that the squad's lost their momentum. Oh, that's always the thing. There's always going to be a worry going into a game. But typically, under Erik ten Hag, and that's what I said in the pod this morning, United took time to sort of get back into any sort of rhythm. And can you let me know in the comments, because I couldn't figure this out this morning. Is this international break the first international break under Amorim? Did he replace Ten Hag after the last international break, or was there an international break? Because I couldn't quite remember. I've started some sort of PTSD in the comments. My bad about United going out on away goals. My bad. I couldn't remember if it was his first or his second international break. Right, but a couple of you are saying it's his second, so it must mean that Ten Hag was sacked in the second one. Either way, let's find out. I thought this was a nice comment from Amorim. He sort of, I've spent a little bit more time with my family, but more than that, I had time to watch a lot of our games, and I had time to know better the youngsters that we have in training. So Amorim's used that time in the international break. Of course, international break, there's going to be players away on international duty, but Amorim would have been at Carrington training with the remaining players, those players coming back from injury, and filling the gaps. Oh, actually, I just remembered that, the international break. Yeah, because I think that was where Kokonki was training with the exact same thing I've just mentioned here, actually. Kokonki was one of the players who was training. We saw those videos of the team running back when they lost possession. Yeah, it was the second one, wasn't it? But I quite like that comment. Amorim saying, look, I've used this time to get to know the players a lot better. And some of the youngsters too. Mantato debut. I think that will happen before the end of the season. But this was the starting 11 that I predicted for tonight. I think there were 3 changes. Oh, God. OCD and me. One sec. I've got to sort this out. It's an absolute abomination. Come on, Sam. Not lining up properly, but that's better. Oh, no, I can't leave Maguire over there on his own. Oh, I can't put Bindy there. It's got to be Lindelof. Anyone else got OCD? I think everyone's got OCD to a certain degree, right? The changes I think I made were Yoro coming in, Dorgu coming in, of course, because he's not suspended anymore. Don't go get another red card here, mate. Was it Garnacho in for Eriksen? I can't remember what the changes were. Yeah, I'm not saying that Mantato or Kokonki are going to be anywhere near this team. There won't be any Chido either, because Chido was involved yesterday. He's already confirmed that. What do you think about this team? What would you change? Let me know in the comments. Hector, you're saying, Sam, I'll be surprised if we beat Forest tonight. They're not third in the league because they're easy to beat. Well, two stats. He had one. That caught me off guard. I mean, I knew they were doing well, but they are third in the league and they are 5 points ahead of Chelsea in 4th. And Forest have kept the joint most clean sheets in the Premier League this season. They've been very good at having explosive transitional football. It's why Ilanga's been so dangerous. It's why Gibbs White's been so dangerous. They are very good on the transition, but defensively, they've been extremely strong. Now, look, I'm not saying that these players are going to be on the bench, all right? That these are just the players who are available or unavailable. Injuries are down there. Well, Shaw is still injured. Of course he is. That's really quite pointless. Ever thinking about Shaw being fit? That didn't work. Why are they not turning black? Ah, God, it's all going wrong. Yep. Okay. Change. Apply. We got there in the end. That's better. Oh, no, now to change all this again. Oh, God, it's all going wrong. Amash should be in the squad tonight, of course, because he wasn't in the team yesterday. Smee, you're saying you prefer Ugarte alongside beside Bruno, which is exactly what we've got there. What else have we got down here? Everyone's complimenting Forest goalkeeper right now as well. I don't like Garnacho on the left. Well, to be fair, actually, if you're looking at the last couple of performances, I think you've more seen Garnacho on the right. So I think that's pretty fair comment. I'm not sure what game he was it. Was it Garnacho on the right? Was it away at Sociedad? Oh, I've just remembered something. Oh no, is it? I can't remember. Is Robbie Savage on commentary, or is it just for Europa League games? Because it's on TNT Sports. It just makes me sad. How crap he is at commentary. The thing that annoys me about Robbie Savage is like, well, first of all, he's a very, very bitter man, which is obvious. You can't ever hide that. But he speaks like he feels like he needs to teach everybody about the tactical things that he has learned. It's like no one else possibly understands tactics. And I've just got to tell you, have you seen it playing through the back? Have you seen that player's going, oh, I shouldn't be doing that? Not sure about this. Oh, it's so frustrating. How can somebody ruin football so much? Don't know. Go and ask Robbie Savage. Either way, that'll be the team I would play tonight. Whether Garnacho or Xerxes plays on the left or the right, I don't quite know. Whether Mason Mount's going to be fit enough to even come off the bench, we don't know. Whether Casemiro might start alongside Ugarte and Bruno might play further forward, I don't quite know. I would personally predict Bruno to play deeper. Garnacho and Xerxes and Højlund, it feels pretty much set. And again, this is something that's happened. Well, it happened against Leicester, finally. Not only did Højlund break his duck, but so did Garnacho. So I'm hoping that they can go into this game and they can continue that. Because we need goals. It's been probably I would probably say that's the biggest problem we've had. You know, it's kind of hard to decide United's biggest problem this season. But I think a lack of consistent goal scoring. Or a lack of clinical, whether you want to call it a lack of clinical finishing, just a lack of the ball hitting the back of the net has hurt us the most. And then, of course, everything to do with changing systems and wing backs and not having specialists and not having fit players. There are a lot of questions, right? But just simply not scoring enough has been the issue. Jahamas, you're saying you're excited for the Lyon game. Well, we've got two big games to get through first. We've got Forest away, and then on Sunday, we've got City. And that game against City might not be, I don't know, like a defining derby game. But when it comes to these next 5 games, it's all about building momentum, man. We've got Forest, then we've got City, and then we've got Lyon away. And then we've got Newcastle away, and then we've got Lyon at home. The five huge games coming up in the next 17 days. We've had 16 days with no games. That's mad, isn't it? We say that. 16 games between Leicester and Forest, and now we're about to have 5 games in 17 days. It's the complete opposite. Absolutely nothing to absolutely everything. That's what football fixtures do. And it starts with Forest tonight. I'll run through I'll run through the game a little bit later. Jonathan saying, why hasn't the City verdict been announced? I don't actually know, if I'm being honest. I've got no idea. I don't think they're going to get found out. As I said, The rich find a way of circumnavigating the rules. The crooks, anyway. All that money you took from that big Russian crook, and you never win 3 in a row. Oh, I love that chant. I really do hate Chelsea, don't I? Anyway. King Fire saying I fancy our chances against Chelsea. City. Yeah, well, City aren't City this season. Let's be totally honest. And they're gettable. But it depends on how United play. Absolutely depends how United play. Mania, thank you very much for gifting 10 memberships down there. Legend. Right. I just want to have a quick chat about signings. Because my lunchtime video, I was going to do it yesterday, but I thought I'd hold it back for today. Lunchtime video is going to be about strikers and United's transfer summer, right? That's coming up. And this is Ruben just speaking about United's different transfer strategy, which is obviously emerging, right? And he was asked about United signing older players and bigger names and bigger money. We've got to do something different, and we do have to do something different. Now, this is from Laurie Whitwell this morning on the Gyökeres situation. He said, look, the link between Gyökeres and United is clear. Amorim got him firing in Portugal with a system that suits him, but talk of a reunion so far has been tepid at United because of the cost it would take to get him from Sporting and then the wages. And that United might look at Liam Delap and there are other options being explored. And what I'll do in the lunchtime video is maybe I'll just have a conversation about Matheus Cunha. I'll have a conversation about Victor Gyökeres, but also Benjamin Sesko, Liam Delap, Victor Osimhen. You know how we did the video looking at right wing back options, both inside the club and outside the club? I don't think we're not going to do that for every single position because there's certain positions I don't think that United could have any chance of looking towards the academy and bringing someone through to solve a problem that we have. I think there's a genuine possibility of that happening at right wing back. I don't particularly think that's going to be a possibility at centre forward. I mean, Chido's already come through, and you could talk about Gabriel being Kelly, and that is an option. But I don't think it warrants its own separate video, so we'll probably just wrap that all into one video instead of two. But certainly, when it comes to looking at strikers that we could sign, that is a video itself, right? And I'll talk about that at lunchtime today. Dan, you can say that Cunha isn't a striker, but he absolutely could play in that position. And I think he has played in that position for Wolves before. He's not a specialist striker, no. Right. He's not a specialist striker. But anyway, we'll speak about those. And then just to sort of wrap up the transfer conversation, he was asked about Rashford's return, and he's like, I mean, yeah, I've already spoken about him, but he doesn't play for our football club. So if he does well, it's a good thing for United. Same thing about Anthony. Planning for the future. Talk about players who are in the club rather than players who are outside of the club. But it's only a good thing, right? It's only a good thing that these players are doing well. Worst case scenario for United right now would be, well, what's going on with Jadon Sancho? Like, what would you prefer? Would you prefer to sit there and watch the player who's left United on loan just do exactly what he did at United but at another club to the point where they're probably not going to sign him? Or would you rather a player do what Anthony is doing, impressing, refining himself, and actually making himself sellable? This is the biggest thing for United this summer, is somehow moving players on that so many United fans are scared that we won't be able to. Rashford, Anthony, Sancho, and Casemiro. All four of them. So anyway, Amorim's just like, look, I'm not here to talk about other players. I thought this was a random little interesting conversation. Obviously, Bayer Leverkusen have had a cracking couple of seasons under Xabi Alonso. I think right now, what, they're 6 points behind Bayern in the Bundesliga? I think they are. Michael Olise, by the way. I would have loved. He was on my dream signings list last summer. Didn't quite work out that way. Anyway, he's absolutely walloped it at Bayern. But the reason I've got this up, Bayer Leverkusen have decided to sign a new goalkeeper. I think that's an interesting one because Matej Kovar is a name that a lot of United fans have mentioned when it comes to if Onana is replaced, which I think is a distinct possibility. I just don't know whether we're going to have the finances to be able to, as I said, because Bayinder's going to leave and Tom Heaton's going to retire. So will we really be able to replace all three goalkeepers in one summer? That'll be quite tough, given everything else we're doing. But it's interesting that Bayer Leverkusen are looking like they're going to be trying to sign a goalkeeper rather than bring Matej Kovar through to become the first choice. So clearly from the inside, Kovar hasn't done enough to fill Bayer Leverkusen with the confidence that he could be their number one. Which I think is just an interesting point to raise here for United fans who might say that, oh, we should be bringing in Kovar to replace Onana. I'm not saying it's an absolute fact analysis, opinion made, but I think it's just interesting. That's all. Bring back Kovar, says Kenny. Well, if he's not good enough for Leverkusen, does that mean he's good enough for United? Is the debate that would then rise from that sort of point of conversation. But last few minutes of the show, right? Fire any comments and questions. I'm going to go back to this and say, as I said there, I'm not going to apologise. I apologise for swearing if anyone's watching my kids, because I appreciate this is, and I think it's cool, man. It's just as much of a family show. Mums and daughters, dads and sons, granddads, aunties, they all tune into United People's TV, and we are around the world. So I apologise if a swear word comes out here or there, but it angers me. It really angers me. And as I said, if you have freedom of speech, of course, freedom of speech exists. But if you do something like that, do not be surprised when somebody comes and retaliates. Which is exactly what I did there. Why is Bayindir leaving? Says 21 is coming. I just don't see Bayindir staying happily as United's. You know how like Sergio Romero, it felt like he was happy as United's number two. And he ended up playing the cup games and it was kind of more than a number two. Bayindir's got the cup games, but there's no cups for us to be in, right? Has he played in the Europa League games? Can't remember. Either way, I just don't see Bayindir happily being our number two next season. Might be wrong on that, okay? I might be wrong on that, but I just don't see it happening. Atney saying and Kovar will only move for being first choice goalkeeper. Yeah. But when it comes to United's academy, people might talk about Eli Harrison, who was the goalkeeper for the under-18s last season when they won the treble. At that level. Murdoch, I think, was going to make his debut, but then Onana ended up being fit for Fulham. Let's see. I just don't think that United are going to really have anybody from within the academy to replace Onana. Not right now. But yeah, last couple minutes of the show. Fire any questions. My prediction for the game. Actually, predictions. Speaking about predictions, the poll. 800 votes are in. Big up to everyone. 13% of you are saying a Forest win. 22% of you are saying a draw. And 65% of you are saying United win. So still, yeah. If United's games had gone how these polls had gone, we would be top of the league, undefeated, and on for an invincible season, winning every single game. Was it me that was going to make his debut? Not me. It might have been. Either way, 65% of you are saying a Forest win. No, sorry, a United win. My prediction, if I remember correctly, was a 1-1 draw, which is the same as what I can see a couple of you coming in to the comments there. United are going to have to bring their A game, and it does depend on whether we could take advantage of Forest being tired. There will be some tired legs after 120 minutes on Saturday night in the FA Cup. Away from home as well, they had to go down to Brighton. Let's find out. You could replace Bayindir with an academy player and buy a first choice, says Adam. I mean, you could do that, but then that's what I mean about the priorities this summer. And some people are going to have that goalkeeper down as a priority. Let's find out. Tyler saying, Sam, with the season pretty much over in the league, would you like to see more youth players getting game time or sticking with the senior players? I want to see Mantato make his debut. And I'd like to see Jack or Tyler Fletcher involved in a central midfield capacity. I think Jack would probably be a little bit more advanced. Of course, he was named on the B list, wasn't he? No, named on the A list for the knockout rounds of the Europa League. But Jack plays slightly further forward. That'll be an interesting one. I do think there'll be a couple more debuts between now and the end of the season because there is an opportunity in the league. All right. So I'm going to wrap this up for today. We've got a busy one. Lunchtime, I'm going to try and get it out as close to 12 as possible. Yeah, I'd like to see some more game time for Omas. I'll get the lunchtime video out as soon as I possibly can. We've got the game tonight at 8 p.m. I'll have the match reaction to that. And then we're back. 5 games in 17 days from today. And we had no games in the last 16 days. Strap yourselves in. It's going to be a busy one. Big up to everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. And I will see you later on today and tomorrow morning. Take it easy.